Everything Chris. 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 So what is it like? What was Plymouth like back then to now? What you see it as now? Because from what I see it now, the atmosphere is crazy. It's amazing. The fans are behind the team, 100%. What was it like when you first got there, and now when you go there again as an opponent? What's the difference?
Oh, it was this. I mean, I feel like it was even better then, like because then like it was more of like a family run club, family atmosphere. And now, once money started getting involved, it got
Yeah,
professional and politics and all that stuff. It was more ran like a business, so that kind of changed where it was like a family atmosphere. Everybody was there shoulder to shoulder. And that was the thing to do on Sundays was to go to the Plymouth games. And man, I remember when Gary, when I signed my contract, I looked on the internet and looked at the atmosphere. I don't even know what it was. I think it might have been on their website. And I was like, man, they had fireworks going off, lights off. I was like, I got to be part of this. And those that have been down there, they play in like a theater. So the setup is like a theater where the seats are dark and the court is lit.
yeah.
So yeah, man, it was so much fun. It really was. It really was.
That's dope, man. And then fast forward, you kind of you moved over to Newcastle. How did that all come about for you?
So in 2011, I had played at Plymouth for 5 years. I had decided that I was done with the BBL. I was going to move on. I had done everything individually that I could do in the league. And I was like, I'm going to Europe no matter what. So Plymouth offered me a great offer. But I turned it down. I said no. They kept offering me. And I just said no. I had my mind made up. Financially, I had enough saved where I could sit out a year. And I was like, I'm gonna roll the dice. And I ended up sitting out a year. Nothing actually worked out. And I actually signed for Newcastle in November of that season because Trey Moore broke his foot. So they brought me in towards the last month of the season. I finished off there. And then the following year, I mean, I did well during the month I was there when I was at Newcastle to the point where they wanted to bring me back. And the morning I was supposed to fly up to Newcastle the next year, I get a call from Paul Blake saying that the finances don't match up and they're going to have to play with an American short. So I ended up having to, the deal fell through. So I ended up going to Surrey later on that year for November. Guildford that time. Guildford Heat
at the time.
Guildford Heat at the time. And I ended up finishing there and then went back to Plymouth after that year. And then literally I thought, okay, I had turned 30. I was like, this is it for me. I'm going to finish my career here in Plymouth. My wife's from Plymouth, perfect. And the day after the playoff final, I get a message from Dave Forrester, who's the Newcastle Eagles assistant coach, asking me, what was I planning on doing for next year? And, and a long story short, I ended up relocating the family to the Northeast and being up here ever since.
All right, man. How's that been so far for you and your family, career-wise?
Yeah, it was the best thing that ever happened for my career because, like, my whole career from, like, sophomore in college all the way up to 2012, I had led every team I played on in scoring. I was the guy who had the ball, so I got the stats and all that. But I had never played for a team where I had played for nothing but teams. I played for teams that were underdogs. I had never played for a team that was like the team.
The team.
Yeah, so like, coming to Newcastle, I knew that the individual part of my career was over with. I knew I would have to be more team focused. And I was okay with that. I wanted to be part of a winner, part of a tradition. And I wanted to see if I could play with the pressure because people who don't play, you don't understand, like anybody can go and score 20 on a sorry team,
easy.
Put up
Anyone
numbers.
can.
But can you perform when you're playing on a team that is supposed to win every single game? You don't win trophies. It's a disappointment. Everybody is gunning for you. Can you perform then? And I had never played on a team like that. All my teams, it was playing with house money. Like I was an underdog team. So, and I wanted to see if I could, if I could live up to that. So
how was that? How was that challenge different now because you've gone in, that challenge is different as when you're an underdog, you're going in to try and win and you're the underdog. But now when you're the top dog, you've got a target on your back. So what was that? How was that different to being an underdog to having a target on your back? How did you take that? And
Well,
how did you see
it's just about pressure. When you play for an
it?
underdog, there's no expectations. You're
Yeah,
supposed to lose, so you play free. You
yeah,
shoot
yeah,
from anywhere, it doesn't matter. There's no repercussions,
yeah,
right? But
yeah.
when you play for a team that's supposed to win, every single possession matters, every single shot matters,
Everything.
and there's an added
Details
amount
in
of
it.
there's an added amount of pressure on every single play. So, that's the difference. And that's mainly your mindset, right? You got to be mentally tough and mentally strong. And during my first year here, there was times where I did feel the pressure, and but after that, it became normal. I'm used to it now. So, but
Yeah,
it
man.
was an adjustment for sure.
That's good, man. That's good. And then talking of some of the challenges you face early on in your career, what kind of challenges did you face early on in your career when you came over to the UK? So what kind of challenges did you face coming into Plymouth? And then what challenges did you face going into Newcastle?
On the court or off the court?
More off the court challenges you reckon with
Off the
Plymouth and
court.
Newcastle.
Well, I mean, that's easy. My first year in Plymouth, I literally went from living in beautiful San Diego, California, to living in Plymouth to where I literally didn't see the sun for 45 days. It rained every single day. So that was a challenge. You go from
That's
somewhere that has the most beautiful weather in the world, is 70 degrees all year round, no matter what, till you go to a very wet,
this
cold
rainy.
climate,
Welcome to
gray.
England.
That was tough, man. Like, and then on top of that, when you're losing, and then I was hurt, like all of that was tough, man. Like I sat in my room because my first year I didn't even have a TV in my room. I
Oh,
would sit
damn.
in my room with my laptop playing music and just be looking at my walls. And I mean, I don't know if I would go as far as saying as depressed, but like I was down for sure. I was down for
Mm.
sure. And these are, I mean, and on top of that, just to give people perspective, this is 2005. So it's not like I
Mm.
can FaceTime my boys, FaceTime my family.
It's
Like
different. Yeah,
I,
yeah, yeah.
I had to go buy calling cards, which was 20 pound a pop, gave you 100 minutes, and they go up like that to call my family. And there was no
Yeah, I
social
remember that.
media. Facebook hadn't been launched yet. It was MySpace was just dropping.
And
So like,
MSN as well.
yeah, yeah. So like I wasn't in tune with the world. So I had no idea what was going on out there. So you add all of those things in, man, I was lonely. I was by myself, because like everybody on that team had already been overseas for years and they had their, girlfriends and lives, and it was just me. And, I was just by myself.
The
And
young
so,
kid.
yeah, just a young kid. So it was tough, man. It was. And,
And
and
then
that's
when
and
you
and that's one thing that people don't understand as well. Like when you think of an American playing overseas, like you have to factor that part in. It's just not about, oh, can this guy play? Like they have to be comfortable off the court. So if a player is with the team and their setup isn't right, like that's gonna affect their playing. If they're not comfortable off the court, they're not living in a nice home, the setup isn't right, that's gonna affect their on the court performance as well.
okay, and then the challenges you faced coming into Newcastle off the court, what did you experience with the culture there?
It was actually pretty easy, because this time I'm moving with my wife, so I have a partner as us. We moved up here together. I had already knew, the only thing I had to learn was where was the best grocery stores to go near my area. Other than that, like I knew the places where to go, where to eat, all that. So the
Yeah.
challenges wasn't that big. So like the transition was as smooth as you can be going to a new team. So it wasn't like a rookie that comes in and you have to learn all these different
Yeah.
things, learn the money and all this stuff. Like I just had to get comfortable where I was living and what was near, how to get to practice and all that stuff. And that was about it.
So really, it was just about just getting your bearings right with a whole new area, as well as for the first time you had to learn everything, the currency, the just the language, the culture, how people think. It's a whole new.
All of that,
I can
literally.
imagine that, man.
Yeah.
Oh, that must have been well, you made it here this far, so that must have been challenging. But at the same time, look at those blessings, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah.
Definitely, man.
Yeah, man.
Um, so but fast forward a little bit. You played in Commonwealth Games
Yeah.
for England, man.
Yeah,
Um,
man.
congrats on playing for the country and that. How did
Appreciate
talk us through that whole experience, man. How did it start out, the tryouts, and then and what did you think of playing for
No, I'm
England?
speaking on here. Man, that experience was crazy because I didn't. Yes, honey. No, I'm not talking to her. Told y'all I got daddy. I got daddy duties, guys. Sorry about that. I'm a stay-at-home dad.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, man. I didn't even know. I didn't even know about that situation. It wasn't like the summer I knew that England was going to be playing the Commonwealth. I
Yeah.
literally found that out, got an email in like October, November that they were sending the team to the Commonwealth. So I went from, oh, this is interesting, got an email. I was like, yeah, I'll go down and go, try out to actually making a team. But the whole experience was just, it was surreal, man. Like you had to really be there to understand. Like I tell people all the time, like the whole process leading up to being selected, it was like, it was like one of those shows with Simon Cowell where you got three judges, you're across the table and you're there waiting to hear your fate, and then you hear it and then you walk out the door. That's how we found out if we made it. And for me, I was proud because, I was 35 at the time and come in as a point guard and not really a point guard. So to be able to make that team was an honor, man. And then being out there, like that experience was just amazing, man. Like being in Australia, traveling Australia, and like being on a village, like the village experience is something that like you just like I said, you have to be there to understand it. Like you see all these people that you see competing, like the netball girls who beat Australia, all this, but like you get the behind the scenes everything you guys see is just on TV. So you might
Yeah,
see
yeah, yeah.
the England
That's it.
netball girls win the gold and then hear the interviews and then boom, that's it. Well, we get to see everything after that. Like I was in the elevator with the girls because we lived on the same floor as they were going back to their rooms, and being able to see that raw emotion and being able to see people coming off
Man.
winning medals, like the raw emotion behind the scenes was like crazy. And then like, the calf area where everybody's together eating and just everybody is there together. It was crazy, man. It was surreal.
So like it was like the England was like all the national teams segregated together, or were they all over the place when
Well,
the
so you had like these kind of like buildings, flats, I guess you would call it, where dorms. So every nationality had their own dorm. So we had our building, then the next door would be Australia, next door would
yeah,
be South Africa, whatever. So it was everybody in the same campus because the campus was really strict to get on.
yeah,
But
yeah, I
we
could
were all
imagine.
we were all there. We were all in the same environment.
And then so what the experience, what kind of things you took from that whole experience, man, and what is it you brought it back to Newcastle?
Man, the thing, I mean, for me, like I made sure that I tried to enjoy the whole process in the moment. Like I made an effort to go watch all different sports. Like I seen ping pong, stuff that I wouldn't normally typically go watch or be
I can
entertained
imagine.
by. I
Yeah.
went to go see it, beach volleyball, all that stuff. I just tried to take it all in because I knew, like for me, like I would never get that experience again. So I just tried to take it all in. And coming back from that, what I brought, I guess what I could say is just like being able to take things from different athletes that play at a higher level. Like I spoke to a lot of people and just kind of got into like what their process is for being at the top of their game, and so taking all those different perspectives and kind of putting bits and pieces into what I already do. So I would say that's the biggest thing that I took is just like learning from other athletes.
Oh, that's good, man. So yeah, and then took that forward to Newcastle. That's great.
Yeah.
And also then talking of your team, I'm gonna go back to your team. There's a player we know very well down here in London, Mr. Darius Defoe.
Oh, the full double D. Yeah, I mean, I
Yo,
mean, technically, Darius is not even from London anymore. He's probably lived in Newcastle longer than
yeah, his
London.
whole
So, I think on his birth certificate it says Newcastle. So,
Newcastle now. He's
yeah, I
changed it
don't
now.
I don't think he can rep New London anymore.
He's got the language. He's talking up. He's got the accent there now, is it? As well,
Oh
isn't it?
yeah, yeah, yeah. He says like after everything, but freezing like, and he got the total Northeast accent. So,
Um, so what was your relationship like with him though? Because considering he had been there from I think 16, and he just moved up, and then obviously he's worked his way up, and then
yeah,
obviously he's been one of the leaders of the team now. So like, what was your relationship like with him,
yeah.
and then going into Newcastle? What kind of thing did you want to bring to the table with him as well?
I mean, when I first got to Newcastle, we hit it off straight away. I
Yeah,
mean, we're that's probably my closest friend on the team. Me, him, and Fletch, we're pretty tight.
yeah, Fletcher.
Um, but yeah, that's my boy, man. We're really close. You know, work out together. We talk often on the phone and text and all that type of stuff. And yeah, man, he brings a lot of positive energy to the team. He's good banter. He's always smiling. You know, it's very rare that you see him down, and so his energy is always good. So, yeah, man, that's my boy. I mean, we're real close. We're real tight. I mean, I just actually spoke to him yesterday. We talked on the phone yesterday. So,
Already.
yeah. So, yeah,
Doesn't
that's
live
my
too
boy.
far from me, I take it.
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
my boy.
And then talking of you two, your relationship together, you've won 2 league championship titles, right? And
Right.
a playoff. Is it a playoff title as well?
We together, I think with him, I won, I think two trophies, 3
Yeah.
cups, 2 leagues.
3 cups and 2 leagues. So
Three
out of
cups.
three,
No, 3
so
cups,
those
2
three.
leagues, 2 trophies, or maybe 3 trophies. I don't know.
So out of those 3 cups, then which one would you reckon was the most challenging one, or which one was the most gratifying win?
The most gratifying, I would say, is probably, I would say 15, I would say 15, 16 when we won the clean sweep. I say that because it was
Yeah,
like poetic justice. So my first year here, we play Leicester in the cup final, and we're up by 11 with 3 minutes to go. Leicester
yeah.
comes back and beat us. And I mean, that was tough, man. I probably won't ever forget that. Well, I won't forget that game and how I
Nope.
felt after, man. It was,
Can't forget that, man.
man, it was tough, and we were getting bashed by everybody. And then to flip it around 2 years later, you know, the tables are turned. Leicester is beating us by 17
Yeah,
midway through the third quarter, and then we go on a run, and then we go and, you know, and beat them. And so that was just like, that was really, really gratifying after what we went through 2 years ago. But, you know, all of them have been special because they've been with different people, different groups. I mean, this year was special just because of the way it fell and what happened and with COVID.
absolutely.
So, but yeah, man, I like 15, 16 is dope. You know, this one's dope. You know, my first league title in 13 was dope. I mean, it was all great experiences.
And this is the thing. He was winning, and this is what you weren't experiencing in Plymouth, right? Because came to Newcastle, now you're winning all this stuff. So that must have
Ex-
been a good feeling, like.
That's what I sacrificed. So I sacrificed. I mean, we won a trophy, the
Yeah,
Plymouth's only trophy final, by the way. We
yeah,
won a trophy my second year there, but it wasn't known as like a winner. It was known as, you know, like the underdog,
yeah.
the new kids on the block. And now coming to Eagles, and I think I won 8 or 9 championships since I've been with them. It made everything that we decided in 2013, it was worth it.
That's good, man. That's good. That's a good journey so far. You heard you've been on, so 15 years. Any more left in you yet? Still got some more left in the tank.
You be the judge. You watched the trophy final. Do you think I got
I
another year in me?
I think you got more left in you, bro.
I mean, I feel great. I mean, I feel great, man. I take care of my body really well. I learned a lot of things from Fab that, you know, Fab played till he was 45. So not saying that I'm trying to play that long, but I think I
You never
still got a
know.
couple. Yeah, you know, I still got a couple. So I just take it year by year. I'm definitely plan on playing next year. So, you know, until someone, you know, moves
Do
me to
something.
the end of the bench where I'm a, bona fide cheerleader, then I guess I'll keep it going.
Yeah, man. Definitely, man. Keep it up, man. Definitely love to see you out there, man.
Yeah.
Um, so there's a question.
Everything, everything Chris. Everything Chris. Everything Chris. Everything Chris.